What's happening, everybody? JayShockblast here, and finally we've got the Star Wars Rogue One review. I've seen it twice now, and also seeing it twice is my co-star for this review. Finally up from Florida, doing one of our yearly videos. My brother Eric. What's happening?
What's going on?
So everybody always asks for more Eric videos, and here we go. We both saw Rogue One on our own. I saw it with my buddy Yid and Madman, and you saw it with your roommate?
Yeah, I saw it with my roommate Mike.
Perfect. And you saw it down in Jacksonville. I saw it up here, and then we saw it together up here. So
Actually, it's more like you saw it and I fell asleep.
yeah, yeah. He had been up all day, and I made him go see it the morning he flew in. So. I wanted to kind of take it in twice. I actually want to see it again. I'm not going to lie. I have to say, we actually, surprisingly, you've been up for a couple days now. Surprisingly, we really haven't talked about it that much. And I'm kind of glad for that because it's going to make the video a little bit more genuine. I do know that, as far as I'm concerned, this is as good a Star Wars movie as has been made. This is the 8th full-blown Star Wars movie. And, I think Episode 5 is probably still number 1 for me. But, man, if this didn't fight really hard to be a really close call, or even just a pure number 2, how did you feel?
I feel like, to be honest, I'm not going to put it that high up. It really was a very well-done movie. I should definitely like it because the same director did got the reboot of Godzilla. But as far as ranking it with the other Star Wars, I'd probably put it at number 3, number 4. Episode 5, Empire, is definitely my number 1 choice. And obviously the original Star Wars, so I might put it number 3 or number 4 after Force Awakens.
Yeah, and that's a really great thing because these are the 2 most recent movies, Force Awakens and Rogue One, and I think they both rank really high for me, and I think that's the beauty of the new technology that we have to work with. So look, there are very few things that I can actually find faults in. I know there's some CGI questions as far as Rogue One is concerned, but hey guys, this is the jumping off point. If you haven't seen the movie yet, we are going to have spoilers. We are going to talk about things that actually happened. To be completely honest with you, you really shouldn't be surprised at how the movie ends. But, just in case you haven't seen it yet, you might want to skip out until you have. We look forward to having conversations with you when you do. And without any further ado, let's just jump right into it. So, essentially, the point of the story is it is a lead-in to Episode 4, A New Hope, the first ever Star Wars movie. And what I didn't realize is it literally is a lead-in to the movie. We've all known that it's the story about how they got the plans for the Death Star, but I don't think I realized until the movie was ending, oh my god, this is literally ending where Episode 4 begins. How did you feel about that?
I was shocked as you are. I didn't think it would literally end right into Episode 4. I thought it would just end and then we all put the pieces together. But the fact that literally you could stop Rogue One and pop in Episode 4, and it'll be a continuation.
And it's like it's all one big movie.
And it's all one big movie.
So
minus, it's like somebody decided to change the filters on the movies.
Yeah. So the one thing that I think a lot of people are complaining about, and by a lot of people I mean very super duper nitpicky people, is there's a couple little things and details that have maybe kind of changed over the course of this, and I don't have a problem with it. I think of when Mon Mothma is talking to everybody when they're unveiling the plans for the Death Stars, and she's like, many Bothans died to bring you this. You think of the Bothans as being the only ones that actually did this, and I actually can't even tell you what a Bothan looks like. But obviously it was the crew of Rogue One and a few others. Did that really bother you much?
Not really. it's a small little it's a small little change that really doesn't affect it to me, in my opinion. Because to be honest, what the hell is a boffin?
It's like, all right, there was definitely a Bothan. It was the kind of like, you remember how there was a why is it doing this? It was there was the little guy. I think it was it's kind of like there's like one alien that went with them, and so by many Bothans, I guess they meant one Bothan. But I mean, that's really the that's like the biggest complaint that I think I can come up with. There were a couple CGI points that were a little weird, but man, they found a way to work in so much classic Star Wars stuff, which is really crazy considering we're about to hit the 40th anniversary of A New Hope.
Next year will be the 40th anniversary.
And so many of the people that were involved with that movie are just gone. But before we get into that, let's talk about the casting and some of the characters involved. Our main star of the movie is Felicity Jones as Jyn Erso, and I think this is really interesting. The last two Star Wars movies, we've had basically two leads in Jyn Erso and Rey. They've basically been the two main leads, and I guess Finn and Cassian Andor are kind of like supporting roles. I mean, Finn kind of, I think Finn and Rey are like 50-50, but Cassian is kind of definitely the support. So it's definitely intriguing to see Jyn as a feature character. I thought she was phenomenal. Like, I really enjoyed her as a character. How did you feel?
I mean, I thought she did a pretty good job. As far as character-wise, I mean, to be honest, it really didn't do much, didn't really do much for me. It's like I've already seen that kind of character before.
Sure.
I mean, my favorite were a lot of the supporting characters.
Yeah, I think they did a really good job. There's a lot of chemistry really fast for a crew that got strung together. So you have Diego Luna as Cassian Andor, and I thought he was great personally. I mean, he has like a little bit of an accent, so it's a little bit different. But I thought it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed him as that role. But like, I think there are two characters that really stole the hearts for a lot of people. First we have Donnie Yen as Chirrut Imwe. I think that's how we pronounce it. And he is a Willow, I think.
If I remember correctly, he was a Kyber protector.
Yeah, it was like the stewards of the Willow or something like that.
I guess. I mean,
they had a name for it, and I can't remember. And it was referenced like anciently by George Lucas, and it was him and Baze Malbus, played by Wen Jiang, and they were kind of homies. But Donnie Yen was great. Like, that was Ip Man, right?
Yeah, he's the guy that plays Ip Man.
So, like, he's a big-time martial arts expert, and it was weird when I saw the lead-up to the movie, when you see, like, the action figures and the pops and, the pictures and the stuff like that, you're like, he looks so out of place. Like, he doesn't look like he belongs in the Star Wars universe. But it's amazing how he played into the movie. He was charming, he was charismatic, and he was blind. And I thought, I was like, I don't understand how that's going to work. And he's not a Jedi, but we think he has, some affinity to the Force. And that was his thing. It was like, the Force is with me. What was his exact line? It was, I have it here. I am one with the Force is with me. Said it over and over and over again.
It was like his mantra.
That was his mantra. And, he has, full control of his senses, hyperactive senses. It's kind of like Daredevil in a way, if you think about it, except without the heat wave, I guess. But,
I mean, he might be Force sensitive and not realize it. Thus, the reason why he's able to do some of the things that he can.
Yeah, but he can like sense things. Like there's a part of the movie where Cassian, they're on, the planet where they're looking for Jin's father, and he can sense the darkness in Cassian's, demeanor. That he was about to like. Nobody knew that he was tasked with killing Jin's father, and he could sense that without seeing him, without just by hearing him and taking it in. I love the way like his facial expressions. Like that was one of the things that I really loved about Charlie Cox as Daredevil, is his facial expressions. Like you could tell he did his research as to how a blind person reacts. But let's talk about the real star of the movie. The real star of the movie is a little protocol droid, not really a protocol droid, KS2 or K2SO, played by Alan Tudyk, and my lord, I was not expecting that. So, Alan Tudyk's been in everything, right?
I mean, he's beloved in the geek community. I mean, everybody loves him from his
Firefly.
that one little show he's on.
Firefly, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Firefly is what he's like legendary for, and obviously Serendipity after the movie, right?
Yeah, it's Serenity.
Serenity
is the movie.
Serendipity. So,
but I mean, he's also a voice actor as well, and he's known for doing a lot of voice work.
Yeah, so like he did like I was not expecting, like usually when Star Wars tries to put in the comedic relief, we end up with Jar Jar Binks. So comedy has like the funny parts have to be like genuine and sincere, which I think is kind of one of the reasons why a lot of people are flipping out about the pun heard around the world made by Darth Vader when he was talking to Krennic. Don't choke on your aspirations, something like that. I didn't really love that. I kind of like facepalmed when he said it. But the comedy coming from K2SO, amazing. Congratulations, you're being rescued. Please don't resist. That's when he's rescuing Jyn Erso after she tries to assault everybody. Gosh, yeah. So what was some of your favorites?
I think my favorite is the where he's like, "How is it she gets a blaster and I don't get a blaster?" The chances of using that against you are high. Very high.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that they were able to put a lot of emotion into a droid is a lot. I mean, we've got C-3PO for 40 years, and he's kind of dry throughout the entire saga. He's got his whimsical stuff and everything, but I mean, for the most part, he's kind of got like a dry emotion, very stiff. But with K2SO, it's very human-like.
The captain said, "You're a friend. I will not kill you." Those were a lot of explosions for two people trying to blend in.
Mm-hmm.
What were some of the other ones? He had, let's see, I find that answer vague and unconvincing. Thor is trying to make an appearance in this review right now. His face is literally by the microphone. So, anyway, so yeah, man, the movie is exactly what you'd expect. I mean, those are really the main characters that we deal with. We deal with a lot of other characters here and there. We see Forrest Whitaker as Saw Gerrera. There is Riz Ahmad as Bodhi Rook, who is a Imperial pilot who Galen Erso sends to, let everybody know, hey, there's a Death Star. And hey, we're gonna blow stuff up with it. And hey, the plans are on Scarif. Lots of other characters here and there. Also, Mads Mikkelsen plays Galen Erso, Jin's father. Then there's also Krennic. Who is Krennic? Ben Mendelsohn. Director Orson Krennic is basically the Imperial, director of the building of the Death Star. So he's kind of like the big bad guy of the movie, kind of the Grand Admiral Thrawn, if you will,
He
one of the
very Grand Admiral Thrawn-ish.
Yeah, because he's like, Thrawn's one of the few characters you see in the Star Wars universe wearing the white Imperial uniform. So that's kind of what I thought of, and I thought he was actually a pretty good character for the bad guy. He's kind of like a little bit of a bumbling fool, but he's just like, sinister enough to make you like not like him.
I mean, he could be a bad guy, but I think he was a little too soft with some of his stuff. Like, he still had a human side where they kind of want all the emotion taken out of in the Empire.
Yeah. There was definitely some intrigue, though, from his perspective, though. You could see the struggle he was going through. The first big CGI moment we have is by them superimposing Grand Admiral Thrawn. I don't remember the actor's name, but...
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Grand Moff Thrawn. I'm stuck on Thrawn. Grand Moff Tarkin. We see interaction with Grand Moff Tarkin, and some people are complaining about the CGI, bringing in Grand Moff Tarkin and another big character later on we'll talk about. I thought it was genius, and it was one of the few moments of the movie where I was like, whoa. And that's why, like, I'm so glad that they didn't spoil stuff like that, because there's just not enough moments where you just go, whoa. And that was great. Bringing in Tarkin and having Tarkin basically, trying to take credit for the Death Star, and Krennic, you could see his obsession with wanting the Emperor to know that he's doing a good job, and wanting Vader to know that he's doing a good job. And then when he goes to Mustafar, and we see Vader's castle on Mustafar, and we see Vader in a Bacta tank, and that's where, we get the "don't be sure not to choke on your aspirations." The puns. So, I mean, the lengths that he's willing to go to protect his legacy and try to cement his position in the actual Empire is astounding. And that's kind of where everything starts, because, Galen Erso and his wife and child had left. We see through a daydream that Jyn Erso has that, Krennic and Galen were friends. They were working together in the Empire, and they go get him and they drag him back. So essentially, we get to the point where they're going to Scarif, and that's when the movie really hits its stride. There is a lot, like, it comes together really fast. It's about 2 hours and 20 minutes. It comes together very fast, and it brings us down to the last third of the movie. The last third of the movie is, I would say, as good as any, like, part of any Star Wars movie ever made. The action is intense. Like, it's going just nonstop. We've got amazing scenery. Like, I love the kind of tropical feel to the battle. It really brings a new kind of, I don't know, like, just a new...
It was a planet we've never really seen before.
Yeah, we've never seen anything like that in the Star Wars universe. And it really felt new. And seeing this, the AT-ATs walking around on the beach was kind of weird and cool. And just seeing the shore troopers. I think the shore troopers are kind of like the stars of it all. But, I think one of the things I've seen a lot of people talk about is, well, why are there death troopers and shore troopers in this movie, but not any of the other Star Wars movies? And we find out why, because they're all dead. I mean, the Death Troopers were Krennic's personal army, it looks like. And basically, everybody that was on Scarif died. Like, the Death Star comes in and wipes everybody out. And, it sucks, because, like, one by one, these characters that we very quickly fall in love with, and trust me, the charm is there, and you will love these characters. Like, we start seeing them each get picked off one by one, and it's just kind of crazy. Like, it's a different side of Star Wars, because there's always been people dying, there's always been battles, but this was a war movie, and I think I loved it for that. And then there's the ending that leads right into episode 4, where you see Vader show up out of space, and he's just there taking out all these rebel, ships that are trying to escape, and he takes over the main ship of the group, and you see Vader just slicing through rebel soldiers. It is brutal. It is just everything we've ever wanted to see from actual Darth Vader in a Star Wars movie. And we're seeing them try to get the plans off the ship, and they hand it over, and the Tantive 4 literally undocks and goes. And it's like inches away from not making it there because Vader is slicing through everybody. You can see the panic and the horror in everybody's face. And then we see our last big CGI surprise in Princess Leia. And, the CGI was okay. I mean, it's still, a technology that's getting better and better. But, like, that was just another moment where I was like, oh, man, that's awesome. How did you feel about it ending that way?
I mean, like I said, it was definitely a great surprise to know that it ended directly into episode 4, and I that's what I liked. I mean, I like that it doesn't just make it like a standalone movie. It's definitely a big tie-in. It's definitely a lot of stuff that we wanted to see, on film. I mean, up until that point, all we've had for years was books and comics that depicted the entire on how the plans were stolen. So it's really good to see a movie that could show us everything and tie it directly into an original movie.
Yeah.
I agree with what you said about Darth Vader. I mean, this is exactly what we want to see in Vader, just fucking things up. But I mean, like, because I'm as a fan of the old ones, he was always slow and just very, robotic. But then, this one, he was more fast-paced, and that was definitely a surprise to see. As far as the CGI goes, about bringing Peter Cushing and what's her name? Carrie Fisher back. I thought it was great. It's not new technology. I mean, we've seen it before. It's just gotten better. And the fact that they had an entire performance out of an actor who's been dead for over 20 years, that's just amazing. So
yeah, and it makes it feel like we didn't miss a beat. It just makes it feel authentic, and we don't need to get an actor that just looks close,
Why not just make it look exactly like him? Just
exactly.
Get the actor, even though he's dead, just put him on the screen.
Just another chance for his family to, like, it's a tribute.
Get some of that Star Wars money.
Exactly. I think to kind of wrap things up, I loved the movie, and I loved the charm of the movie. I loved the tone of the movie. It crushes you at the end because I can't say enough how much you kind of fall in love with these characters. It does such a great job of making that chemistry they had was outstanding, and it's crazy to think that they were together for such a short period of time. Watching Jyn and Cassian, face their end on the beach of Scarif, it's gut wrenching because, like, even though we know the movie happens after, episode 4 happens directly after this. We don't know what happens to these characters. They could have been background characters in the war. Even though they weren't in the other movies, they're just, you never knew. Maybe some of them made it out, but no, they didn't. And that's really, it's a different feeling. Like, it's kind of like how you felt when you left episode 5. Because episode 5 was one of the few episodes where you left and you felt like, man, we lost. Like, that was the one where it was like the kick in the stomach, the kick in the balls.
I mean, episode 5 really was more like, it just ended on a big cliffhanger.
Yeah, but like at the same time, like, you think of episode 4 and episode 6, they kind of win. I guess episode 3, you kind of end on a loss, but like it didn't really feel the same. But I guess it's probably because you know what happens next. But like this one, it's like, wow, I just spent 2 hours falling in love with this crew, and now they're all gone, But you're left with hope because you see Leia, with R2D2 getting those plans out, and man, this is where it all starts. And that's the familiarity. Some other familiarity they managed to work in, and it's amazing. One of the other moments where I totally marked out was when they're on Jeddah, which is the planet that they meet up with Saw Gerrera, who you've seen in, I think, Clone Wars and soon on Rebels. Forrest Whitaker's character. They're running through the market, and they run into Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba. And obviously they make it off because Jeddah gets destroyed as well. But, that was crazy. I love that they worked in so many characters like that. They brought back Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa. That was perfect. And his age is kind of appropriate for how old he would have been around that time. Obviously, we've talked about seeing C-3PO and R2D2. There were some cool Star Wars Rebels references. There's a point where you can hear them talking over the intercom. I heard it very, very distinctly, calling for General Syndulla, which is Hera from the Ghost. She owns the Ghost. Ghost is actually on the pad, and you can actually see Ghost in the battle. So that's their ship. From Rebels. That's so cool. Now, one I can't confirm, but I have read about, is seeing Chopper behind Mon Mothma at one point. I watched pretty closely for the droids the second time I saw the movie, but I didn't see Chopper. But everybody swears they saw Chopper, so that would be really cool. And then I think the one that made me that really kind of made it start to feel like, oh man, this is the prequel to Episode 4, is when Bail Organa and Mon Mothma start talking about the Jedi friend, and they're referencing Obi-Wan Kenobi, and it's so cool the way they did all that stuff. I love the movie. I'm gonna probably see it a third time at some point, and I adore it. I think it's a must see if you're a Star Wars fan, and I would love to know what you guys think of the movie. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. Maybe a 9.9 out of 10 because there's little blemishes, very minimal. But what is your final verdict? How'd you feel?
I'd give it an 8 out of 10, to be honest.
8 out of 10. Wow.
It was a great movie. It was it goes to show that the better Star Wars movies are the ones that are not directed by George Lucas. He wowed us with Star Wars, Episode 4, but ever since then, the greater ones are always the ones that he did not direct. Like I said, I really liked it. It didn't wow me like it did to you, and I'm sorry, but it was. But
8 out of 10 is pretty strong.
It was very, very well done. And to be honest, it felt like I was watching Suicide Squad. So
yeah, the real Suicide Squad.
The real Suicide Squad. So but it was a really good movie. And I agree. If you're a Star Wars fan, you got to go see this, anyways. If you're a movie fan, you still should see the movie. It's really, really good.
It's just a good movie on its own,
But I walked out. I just didn't walk out going, "Wow," I was like, "Wow." I'm like, it was a good movie.
Yeah, I walked out with dreams of seeing it again the next day. I
did not. I got dragged.
But hey guys, I hope you guys enjoyed us talking about the movie. I love it. I can't believe we're gonna have another Star Wars movie a year from now. Episode 8. Adam Driver has said he wants absolutely 0 trailers, and I support that 110%. I just want the movie to come out and that be that. If we got to see a little teaser here or there, but I just want to avoid trailers, to be completely honest. But
I think they did a good job with Episode 7. They dropped the one trailer we needed to see.
Well, I think the crazy thing about this is that there's so many things that were in the trailers that weren't even in the movie.
Exactly.
Like Jyn Erso saying, "I rebel." That's not even in the movie. So, anyway, guys, we're a year away from another Star Wars movie. I can't believe that. We've had 2 Star Wars movies since the last time the Cleveland Browns won a football game. That's pretty crazy. It's a new world, man. It's a new world. I will never get sick of seeing Star Wars movies. So Episode 8 is next year. Then we have the Han Solo movie. Then Episode 9. And then Boba Fett movie?
Supposedly an Obi-Wan movie.
Hopefully Boba Fett. All right, guys. We'll see you.